First off, I wanted to talk a little bit about coaching. The first step to this rogue roster becoming like an international force and winning games internationally, from my perspective, is adding your old teammate Meepy to the roster. You've been around the scene for an extremely long time, and we asked Twister this as well. What's the difference between a good coach and a bad coach?
So, I don't know. I've never had really experienced like a bad coach. So I guess I guess lack of experience is a big deal breaker. I guess
Mhm.
like not being able to resonate with like the players when they're playing, trying to calm them down mentally and stuff if things aren't going their way, or how to properly prepare them for games and stuff as well is quite a big one, I guess.
So the addition of Prano to this roster seems to have taken off, and it was a move that was highly questioned at the time. What does Prano bring to the table in terms of being a support player, and how has he changed the way this team plays?
Yeah, we basically had like no backbone to the team. Like obviously with Corey, like everyone was able to do the job of fragging and being able to bring this like strong power to the gun skill to the game, but we never had that consistent leader, that consistent voice in the team that would always bring us back to reality or help the team out of dire situations.
So I watched a couple of like things back in interviews with you to prep for this, and you've been pretty vocal about burnout, specifically in the COVID era. I think that's a very pertinent question to talk about when we talk about players. However, in my home region, because everything is about me in my home region, that's a joke. In North America, we really it's tough to look at our scene and the makeup of the scene and say like, oh, you suffer from burnout. The teams play 8 best of ones per 3 months. That's a total of 24 best of ones a year, which I think most would contend is just not enough. Looking at the way the national leagues are constructed in Europe, and then looking at North America, which does not have enough games, I was wondering if you could describe your ideal league, your ideal amount of games per stage that will give every team adequate practice while not burning them out.
Well, I think obviously best of 3 would always be something. I think that's always the most competitive way of seeing who's the best team in a league format. I think one issue we have right now is having multiple games a week. I know like a lot of teams and players don't think it's an issue, but I think when going into it, you like, say for example you play on the Monday and the Thursday, you have way more prep time for one game than the other, because you don't want to focus on your next game because you've got the one game to play on. So I think being able to have a consistent schedule of playing once a week, maybe best of 3 if it can fit it in with all the teams, because there's a lot of teams. But yeah, that's how I'd do it.
Fair. There's a lot that's been made about your relationship with Meepy as a player, as a coach, throughout the entire formation of that team secret, the duration, I mean, of the team secret roster. However, it hasn't always been peaches and roses. There have been some rough times. I was wondering if you could give me some insight as to how your relationship has stayed this strong, even throughout some of the, for lack of a better word, higher profile struggles y'all have had.
I think it's always come down to like I think fundamentally when it came to IDK Secret, we were more than just a team. I think like we were all a good bunch of friends as well, which really which helps us a lot at the start of that team's life, being that strong force, being able to talk to each other, be honest with each other, and play like other games outside of Siege, which really built chemistry within the team, which I think is why I have such a long-lasting relationship with Meepy, as I still do with other teammates from there as well, like Feral, sometimes Alem and Stizzy as well.
Nice. So, last non-major question. A lot of teams from the UKIN scene and the UK in particular cite the old Team Secret roster as one of those that helped build the scene. Adding you into their national league gave them legitimacy. Several people said that if they did not have you in the old ESL Premiership, they would not have ascended to the level that they were at just based on being able to play against you in official games. With all of these players that cite y'all, I was wondering if that gives you if that makes you feel any kind of responsibility to give back to the tier 2 scene. And if you have been keeping up with the scene, is there any talent upcoming in the UKIN scene that we should be watching out for?
I don't feel responsible for it, or any responsibilities of like giving back or anything. I think that's just like as a team we wanted to represent, you know, our country and play in that national league, because not only did it give us a LAN to get us a bit more LAN experience, you know, like you said, it gave a good publicity as well for the whole scene, which needed that growth back in the early stages. But I think for a team that's like, I think like Viperio and Eminem right now, like I think they're both really solid teams. They're really upcoming as well. Like their rosters compared to how the old Eminem was. And I think, you know, I think both of those teams could bring it all the way to like both being in relegation. Can they both still be relegation? I think they can.
I haven't got the makeup of UKIN in front of me, but I think that's right. Not entirely sure.
I know Eminem can, because they play Death Row, and I think at 86 do play. I can't remember. Those two teams mainly right now.
You're running off 1 hour of sleep. Don't feel the pressure to know every single format. You're fine, man. So let's talk.
Eminem and 86 for sure. Sorry, go on.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. Let's talk about the major game against Team 1. What's the game plan there? From my perspective, it looks like y'all did a lot of isolating, a lot of trying to catch people out in vulnerable spots, which Team 1 is particularly good at as well. Would you agree with the statement that you turned Team 1's game back on themselves, or was there something different that happened?
Well, obviously, if you look at history, Team 1 haven't played Cafe in a long time, and we haven't shown Oregon in a long time as well. So going into that Cafe game, we knew as a whole, Team 1 really rely on the entries and the lurking of like Alamal from below, and you know, getting those early picks to really help them set up the round to get those wins. So we knew if we could counter that by like spawn peeking or getting aggressive on them together, and giving ourselves the advantage early on, it would always work out in our favor.
So y'all, this game was not just for your lives in the major. This game was for the 6 Invitational qualification. What was the moment where it kind of popped into your head that like, wow, like this is a reality. This is going to happen? I
think when it really hit, like for me at least, I think you can even see my emotion in as the game ended. Was on Oregon, the final round. It was it got down to a 3v1. We traded it out to 3v1, and I knew at that point the boys weren't going to throw, even though we do like to throw those man advantages. I knew that they weren't going to throw that because they know what was on the line, and at that point, I think that's when it hit me. Like we've hit that the invite spot.
You've now had a lot of experience playing against LATAM teams, strong LATAM teams, particularly Team 1. What is the difference between that region and the rest of the other regions?
I think it comes down to a lot of I think they're being good friends in the team. I think they have really good chemistry because of that, because they play the game a lot together. Not even just in scrims, but outside of scrims. I'm not quite sure how their FPL scene is, but I know they play the game a ton out of scrims. Like that's all they're doing. They live and breathe Siege, and mainly they play it with their teammates as well, which makes it I think which makes their communication and synergy so good and better to other regions right now.
Interesting. That's all I have for the major. Final question. This one's just for me. I'm a bit of a rap fan. In your interview with Dez, you cite J. Cole as one of your inspirations. I was wondering if you could give me two things. First, top 5 J. Cole tracks. Two, you have to eliminate one of these 3 J. Cole projects. You have to. Which one's gone? Which one is gone between Friday Night Lights, For Your Eyes Only, and 2014 Forest Hills Drive?
I'd probably take out Friday Night Lights. I think like obviously 2014's like a banger album, and I think For Your Eyes Only is like one of my top 2 albums. I think it's like a criminally underrated album. Well, technically one of my highest played songs, I guess, is Kevin's Heart. So that would have to be in there, I guess, because that's like consistently been one of my highest played songs. For Your Eyes Only, it's like the title track. That song's deep. What else? Oh Free Adolescence.
Strong choice.
Yeah. Damn, it's really hard to pick. Damn. Yeah, Punching the Clock from Off Season.
That's a deep cut there.
Yeah, I don't know, that song just like as soon as I heard that song I just knew that was like my favourite song on the album. I don't know what it is, but it just slaps. Last song. This song it's not a released like song on Spotify, but it's called Javari, or what's the other name for it? Or Want You to Fly. It's not a released song on Spotify or anything, but it's on YouTube. That's a really good song as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to meet with us, Leon. I know you're flying in on 1 hour of sleep. It's
always fun.
Definitely. To all of our listeners, thanks for tuning in to SiegeGG Live. I'm Hunter. He's Leon. Follow his socials at LeonGids. I believe that's his Twitter.
Yep, LeonGids.
Perfect. I got it right because I'm very tired. I'm not about to look it up. All right. Until next time, y'all.